Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and this is a angled head IPS SF-200 plier. It's a Japanese plier. It's got a nickel chrome finish. It's about 200 millimeters long or 7.9 inches. It's a triple joint, and interestingly, there is no spring in the center position, but the two outer positions have springs, which is kind of interesting. But this got me thinking about the angles of plier heads. And I'm not talking about, going up to pistol grip styles, but most pliers, obviously, the jawline is parallel to the handles. And, that was something this really drove home, was just, if you look, there's actually kind of the line of best fit across the jaw is still straight out. So this actually has an unusual look, but it's quite traditional because that's how a lot of pliers are, straight down the front. But there are also a lot of pliers that start to deviate from that, like this old Craftsman here. They've angled it a little bit off to the side. Not much. Sometimes we jump up to Knipex or channel locks, and they seem to be locked in at this angle. It looks like about 45 degrees, but there's a whole bunch in between. And these IPS SF-200s, they come in this style, this angle here, as well as one that is along this line as far as how far over it's bent, or maybe even you could say this right here. But I also like the larger size of this. I'm a big fan of these pliers. This is the Snap-on 49 ACF. It's a large pair of their triple slip joint. Huge jaws. Look at that. I mean, compared to my finger, just gigantic teeth. This is actually on my very short list for if I could only have one tool. And oddly, what I discovered about myself, if I could only have one tool, I may choose a tool that I actually don't use much. But that's on the short list. Anyway, back to this guy. I do like the fact that there's a lot of choice in plier head angles because it gives me something to work with, trying to figure out, well, how good a design is this, or what are other pliers lacking? This one, move it to a little larger size here. You can see the way this grabs the nut. There is sort of a trapezoid there, or a hexagon, excuse me. This is the trapezoid. I think of that with the Knipex pliers. But anyway, it grabs it pretty well. I like that this is a larger size handle. They do make this in a smaller one. It goes down to a 6.5 or 165 millimeter. And that one does not have, to my knowledge, a kind of the plastic dip. They call this a bronze plastic dip. But what it made me think of is a lot of times these pliers, when the heads start to turn sideways, they make them smaller. And I'm not sure why. Why not larger? It could be that if you need a kind of one of these like a parrot head style plier, maybe that's because you're in a constricted or restrictive environment as far as movement, so you need a little one. I don't know. Unless it's water pump, then they start growing pretty fast. Made me look at my Raptor a little closer. This actually points down. The angle here, the way this thing works, even though when it grabs a nut here, it really doesn't matter necessarily the angle once you're on, but the beak of this does point down. However, this one takes the cake. This is actually a metal bending plier, and I got this hopefully to bend some metal on a car door that got sprung out in the wind, but I haven't been able to get this into the seam, the hinge side of the door on the door side to bend the metal back. I'm still working on that. I could stick a pry bar in there, but I think I'd just bend the other side, the body side. But anyway, going back to these guys, they were about 22 bucks on Amazon. There are a lot of different, both the IPS and a few other companies out of Japan make, I guess I just have to say, a different take on pliers than what we're used to seeing, say, in the big boxes here in America or off the trucks. And it's always nice to see some different takes on plier design plier hinges, plier jaws. This one actually has 3 different kinds of cuts in the teeth. It's got kind of the finer cut up here. It's got a really coarse cut here in an unusual shaped blade. I mean, look at that. A little bit different there. And then on this side, it's got a medium cut and then the fine cut up there. So it actually has 3 different, I guess, however you measure that, 3 different grades of teeth. And then, of course, the design of this thing is a little bit different. You know, rather than, if you look where the hinge is on this, it's down below, allowing the jaws to remain, you know, to their full thickness. Whereas this, you know, the way that that's cut down, it's kind of interesting to fit together. Really thins out high up there, as you can see. Kind of unusual for that opening. Little different design. Anyway, this is just another plier to learn something about other pliers. I do like, when I was digging these out, I do like some of the flair. It'd be nice if we got back to actually having some artisan qualities maybe on pliers. You know, this is pretty sterile except for, I guess, maybe this little magnifying glass shape up at the top. But in the old days, you know, we used to try to put in some textures that didn't have to be quite as elegant as they are. But anyway, good job, craftsman. So that's my plier inspection for the day with the IPS SF-200s. If you've got any of these Japanese pliers that you're really fond of, let me know, because digging through trying to find them is not always the easiest thing, and then you're not sure how good they're going to be when they get there, get here, I guess. So anyway, with that, Doc out.